I invite you into a hearing of the Word, of the Scripture, this drawn from the letter of James, a great favorite of Myrtle Fillmore's. She quoted it often, especially its opening, "Count it all joy." Isn't that a wonderful phrase? Whatever we meet in life, count it all joy. See it as opportunity. See it as opportunity. Today we read from that same chapter, but a little further on. For if there are any hearers of the word and not doers, they are like those who look at themselves in a mirror. For they look at themselves and, on walking away, immediately forget what they were like. But those who look into the perfect law, the law of freedom, and persevere, being not hearers who forget, but doers who act, they will be blessed in their doing. Thanks be to God. Well, it is my pleasure once again to invite my friend and yours, Reverend Lee Remington from St. Louis, Missouri, to bring us today our lesson and meditation. And I know that we're in for a few surprises this morning, but I gather from how you entered the sanctuary for this service and how you greeted one another with enthusiasm and a great sense of fun and joy, that you're going to enjoy the lesson, the image, the mirror that Lee holds up to us. So please welcome her to the platform.
Good morning. I usually speak beginning at 1 o'clock, so I'm always saying good morning there instead of good afternoon. So thank you for having me back. It's always wonderful to be here, and I always have such a good time with my dear friend James when I come down to the lake. Some time ago, when I was working full-time and under all the stress of being with coworkers all day. Anyone relate to that? Okay. I left work one day and I was so frustrated. I got in the car and I had one of those conversations. Do you ever have those in the car? You're talking, they're talking, you're having both conversations, you know. Why can't those people just change? Why can't they just change? If they could do it this way, it would just be so much better for everyone. And I'm going on and on and on as I look over and see the man in the next car, wondering what's wrong with me. And then that little light went on inside my head. Oh, change starts here. Oops, I guess I forgot that. So as it is, the universe always conspires to affirm the truth for us, whether we know it consciously or unconsciously. That truth can come from a person we encounter. It can come from a book. It can come from music. So, my next step that day, as I always do, when I'm in the car, is I turned on the radio. And guess what I heard? I am starting to okay. You did great. So what an affirmation that was, right? So I turned that up full blast in my car, and then the fellow next was really looking at me. So the mirror. What is the mirror anyway? It's something that reflects back what's before it. And we're all familiar with mirrors. We fix our hair, makeup, shave, whatever, look at our attire. I know when I go to the gym, I stand in front of the mirror to exercise because it shows me if I'm working the right muscle or not. But there's another kind of mirror. That mirror that we look into to see who we are. That mirror that we look into to make change in our life. The mirror that we look into to know responsibility ends here. The mirror of us. And I believe for many of us, we do a lot of things to avoid looking in that mirror. Anybody relate to that? It's like, oh no, I don't want to look there. And we do that because sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it's overwhelming. And we find a lot of ways to keep from looking in that mirror. Avoidance, deflection. It's just too hard to see who I really am. So, avoidance. I came into Unity maybe, a long time ago. A very long time ago. And when I first came into Unity, I had the idea that if something was unpleasant, I just avoided it. I didn't deal with it. Oh, it's not fun or good or whatever, so it's just not in my world. Well, as decades passed and I embraced these teachings more deeply and fully, I believe, I came to realize that when something comes before us, we don't have to give it power, but we have to deal with it. Because if we avoid it, it rears its ugly head again, doesn't it? A different guy, a different gal, a different circumstance, but it's there again if we avoid it. And also, I think we use guilt often to avoid. You know, there's that guilt. Some people call it healthy guilt. I prefer to call it healthy warning. If we're doing something that really does not align with our conscience, that we have that place inside of us that goes, oh, this is not right. But I'm talking about that unhealthy guilt where we have set expectations for ourselves or others have set it for us that we can't do, that we can't live up to. And we find ourselves beating ourselves up because of that. A great teacher of mine once said that guilt is like a film over the eyes, because when we're feeling guilty, we're unable to look into that mirror clearly to see who we are, to make the changes we want in our life. And then there is deflection. In psychology, the term projection, you familiar with that? Where it's not me, I'm just projecting my feelings onto someone else so I don't have to deal with them. Another way of not looking in that mirror. And of course, that doesn't work either. One of the beautiful things that I learned when I came into Unity all those decades ago was that I'm responsible for my own life. Isn't that a wonderful teaching we have? It's not someone else, it's me. My life looks like it does because of me. And that's not to say that we don't have challenges that come to us, because, we're all sharing consciousness here. And things do happen to us. We have losses, problems. But it's in how we respond to those which is our responsibility. How do we relate to them, respond to them, grow from them? And so the idea of meeting whatever we need to meet to heal is to be able to always look into the looking glass and see the authentic us. We can't do that if we're avoiding or deflecting. In Genesis, the very first chapter, we read that we're made in the image and in the likeness of God. Does it get any better than that? That we're here as the hands, the feet, the voice, the ears, the compassion, the love of God in this world. And if we're not being authentic, there's no way that we're bringing that part of the divine into the world. I once heard a rabbi say, if you weren't here, the universe would not be operating the way it should be. An 18th century German philosopher and writer, Goethe, said, if God wanted me otherwise, God would have created me otherwise. Isn't that wonderful? So that real of us, that authentic part of us, is what we want to be reflecting and living and expressing in this world. I wonder if Jesus would not have lived from the authentic Christ that he was. Do you think this movement would be anywhere right now? Do you think anyone would remember Jesus? Probably not. Do you think he would have been able to perform miracles and healings and all the wonderful things that he did? No. But he had a consciousness, a high enough consciousness to look in that mirror and to see the reflection, the Christ he was, the truth he was, and to live it. And so for us, I believe that's what we're all called to do. And when we do that, when we look in that mirror, getting rid of all the avoidance, all the unforgiveness, anger, whatever it is that is keeping that mirror from reflecting the truth of us, that not only are we holding back all that we can be, but we're holding back what the world can be. Because we grow and evolve, not just for us, but for all of us. Because what happens to one of us happens to all of us. So the more authentic we are, the more that we're able to look in this mirror and see that beautiful, divine that looks back at us, and to reflect that brightly, both inward for ourselves and outward for the community and for our world. What a wonderful world that would be. I believe if we really mastered this, that we would have a world of peace and love and compassion. That how could it be otherwise if everyone was looking in the mirror and seeing that beautiful Christ reflecting? We would live from the highest and best that we are. So this little card that I had a lot of fun making while watching Blue Bloods or something, I don't remember. I invite you to take it home, and whenever anything comes up in you that you forget how wonderful, how divine, how special, how unique you are, that you forget that any change in your life comes from what's in that mirror. So why don't you take that mirror right now and just hold it up, and I know it's little, but You can see that? Okay. Look in there. And look what a beautiful or handsome. Look at all those hunks in there, those beautiful gals in there. Yeah. What an honor, truly an honor it is to be created in the image and the likeness of God, to really lay hold of that. Not to hide it, not to cover it up or avoid it, but to always look in that mirror and let it reflect back and let it be the life we live and the life that we bring to the world. And so with that image of that divine spark that we are, each and every one of us, just feeling that warmth inside of us, I invite us to go to that beautiful place where we truly are aware of that connection, of the truth of who we are. So I invite us to get to that place in whatever way feels comfortable. There's never a cookie cutter way to pray and meditate. But it always helps to breathe. So just aware that this breath that we're breathing all together here in this sanctuary, that we're all breathing God together. And aware that even though we're breathing together, we're breathing that one unique breath that is just us. The breath of God, from which we were created. The breath of God, through which we are sustained. Just aware that God is as close as our very breath. And then to allow that breath, breathing in more awareness of our connection, our oneness with God. And as we exhale, just releasing that there could ever be any separation between the breath of God and the breath we are. And so just breathing deeper and deeper into that inner sanctuary. And so I would invite us with our mind's eye to see a door before us. A door that says, "Welcome, come in." A door that has light streaming from underneath it, and we can feel the warmth as we get closer to that door. And as we gently take the knob and turn it, and feel the flood of warmth and light from this room. And as our eyes, our spiritual eyes adjust, we look around and see mirrors everywhere. Mirrors. Some of the mirrors have a film over them and we can't see quite so clearly. And others are clear and we can see that clear image of who we are. And so as we look around and we see those places that have a film over the mirror, to just single those out, to take some time to sit there, to be open and receptive, and to ask, why cannot I see clearly in this mirror? What is it that I need to release, to change? So I'm not looking in this mirror dimly, but face to face. And so for the next few moments, I invite us to just be in that question. What do we need to do to clear that mirror so that we may see that pure reflection? And we ask this as we sit and listen in the beautiful silence. And so as we prepare to return to this time, this place, this outer sanctuary, we do so with gratitude that God, you have created us so special, so divine, with a purpose.